Hello my beautiful friends, I'm sure you've heard the news by now, but Miss Tati Westbrook from here on YouTube has finally come out with her own makeup line, Tati Beauty. She recently released the Textured Neutrals Volume 1 palette, which of course we are going to be trying here on camera today for the very first time. I have been holding out for this, and I went ahead and put this tutorial together to show you guys these shadows in action. So if you are interested in seeing how I got this look and seeing this palette up close and personal, then go ahead and keep on watching and let's jump right on in. So you guys know me, you know that I have to give you a little bit of background information on the actual palette itself before we can actually get into the nitty-gritty of this video, which of course is the tutorial. So this is Tati Beauty's very first palette. This is Tati's very first makeup item, although she does have another co-brand or a side brand, I suppose you could call it. I suppose it's just her second brand, but it is Halo Beauty, and that is all about supplements and vitamins, so they are completely separate. Tati Beauty is brand spanking new. Now, they recently released the Textured Neutrals Volume 1 palette, which retails for $48. This palette contains 24 different eyeshadows that are all broken up into 6 specific groups that are all supposed to be monochromatic. This way you can pick and choose and create looks really effortlessly and very easily. Those 6 categories are basically broken into color groups. We have Memory, which is an intense smoky black, which comes in a matte, sequin, metallic, and glitter formula. We have the Ritual column, which is a rich, versatile chocolate in a matte formula, a sequin formula, metallic, and glitter formulas. We have Story, which is a warm, earthy orange in matte, sequin, metallic, and glitter. Aura, which is described as a brightening, milky cream in matte, sequin, metallic, and glitter. And finally, Poet, a bold, royal plum in matte, sequin, metallic, and glitter. So as you can see, we have 6 different color groups here, and there are different formulas to basically pick and choose from, which I find to be a really interesting concept. It's something we've definitely seen before, but I think that this is done really well, and I think it would be really easy to pick looks from the way that this palette is set up. I like the way that this palette is set up. I definitely think this is very user-friendly, and I appreciate her putting the effort into making this palette very user-friendly. This palette is also vegan, cruelty-free, and made in the USA. But I'm gonna go ahead and quit my yapping here, and let's go ahead and jump right on into the tutorial to watch these shadows in action. So to start off this look, I applied a thin layer of the P. Louise base in Rumor Zero, which of course is a white primer. So the first shade I wanted to pick up was from the Soothe column, and I wanted to pick up the matte shade, which is like a warm teddy brown. It's not too orange, but it's also not too neutral. It blended really beautifully and very effortlessly. I dipped back into the pan about 2 times per eye, and it just fluffed so nicely throughout the crease and just gave a very blown out effect. But you guys know I can get a little messy when I do my makeup, so to blend the edges even further, I went to the Aura column and picked up that beautiful creamy milky matte, and my god, did this shadow do the job or what? It was so effortless, and it just gave such a blended look to the shadow that I already placed down. It was so incredibly easy to get a very blown out and blended look. The next shade that I dipped into is from the Poet column, and this is the matte shade, that beautiful warm berry plum. And as you can see, there's barely any pigment on my brush here. I wanted to show you guys how much I dipped into this pan. For being a darker berry plum type of shade, this guy blended absolutely beautifully. As you can see, there's no skipping, and this is blending out beautifully. And oftentimes with berries and plums and purples and deeper tones like this, the more you blend, the lighter the eyeshadow looks, and it basically muddies together with whatever you have in your crease already, and you have to keep going back in layer after layer. I did not find myself having to dip back into my pan time and time again to re-intensify. As you can see, I've just picked up a very small blending brush here just to concentrate and intensify the color right in the center of my crease. I absolutely love that even though I blended this shadow quite a bit, you can still see that really intense plum berry tone, and it doesn't look super faded or super washed out. And of course, to tie everything together, I ran a little bit of the matte Soothe shade underneath my lower lash line and followed that up with just a touch of Poet's matte shade. And of course, we have to prep the lids with a little bit of NYX glitter glue, because you guys know what is coming next. The most eye-catching and beautiful part of this palette are those gorgeous glitters that are on the top of the palette. Now I went ahead and used the Poet glitter. As you can see, I was going for a very monochromatic look, And I barely used any glitter for this look, and I feel like I got such an intense yet somehow still sophisticated, sparkly, glittery, rose gold eye look. And oh my god, this guy was so easy to use. It didn't feel overly emollient, it didn't feel overly creamy, it also didn't feel very dry, and honestly, I did not notice a whole bunch of fallout. There was definitely a few pieces of glitter here and there that kind of fell onto my cheeks, and that's to be expected, okay? We cannot expect glitter to not fall out. But for being a pressed glitter, there was barely any. I honestly feel like Tati probably had those Tom Ford sparkly shadows that are always in his quads in mind when she put together this formula. They feel very reminiscent of shimmery eyeshadow toppers, which if you know me, you know I'm absolutely obsessed with those. And this is like a shimmery eyeshadow topper just turned up a little bit, just a little bit shinier, but it's not so overly intense. It's kind of like a hybrid between a shimmery eyeshadow topper and a pressed glitter. I haven't really seen any pressed glitters that are this fine and this sophisticated looking. So kudos to Tati for this because they are absolutely stunning. So to blend together that cut crease with the outer V, I went in with the metallic shade from the Poet column. This is an absolutely beautiful, lighter toned, berry, cool toned, kind of pinky purple. This shade definitely leaned a bit more pink than the other plummy shades that I used. I definitely think the other shades are just a touch more on the red side, a little bit more on the purple side, while this guy was a little bit more pinky and almost magenta, which of course I always welcome with open arms because I absolutely adore shades like this, and this guy did not disappoint. So after all the work we just did on the lid there, I was losing a bit of intensity in the crease, so I went back to the Poet column and I picked up the sequin shade and I ran that through my inner crease. This is an absolutely gorgeous, kind of warm berry magenta shade that has blue micro shimmers running throughout it. It is absolutely beautiful. Can you see that there's glitter in my crease? Absolutely, but they seem to really mesh together nicely with the matte shades that I had already laid down. I don't feel like I ruined my eye look when I did this. I feel like it just meshed together really nicely, which doesn't happen very often for a glittery shade and a matte shade to mesh together and still blend cohesively together without clashing. Honestly, these guys just melted together like butter and they blended really beautifully together, and honestly, I'm impressed by that. Doesn't happen very often here, folks. And the final and last shade I picked up was from the Aura column. This is the Aura Metallic, which is kind of just like a basic true champagne metallic. I didn't find this guy to be overly impressive. This is probably my least favorite shade out of all the shades that I used, but I think for a subtle inner corner highlight or for a subtle face highlight, I think it would be nice. I'm just the kind of girl that likes a little bit more pop to my inner corner highlight and my brow bone highlight. You know, I like to stop traffic with those suckers. I want them beaming and bright, and this was not beaming and bright. Although I do see how people would like this, and I know why Tati put it in here. It's her type of brow bone highlight. It's just not really my type of brow bone highlight. So thus concludes this plummy rose gold sparkly eyeshadow tutorial using the brand new Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals Volume 1 palette. Now, I've only used the palette one time, but so far I am thoroughly impressed. I'm gonna have to play around with the other colors a little bit more, but honestly, you know Poet is the column that my eye was drawn to. We got some pinks, we got some purples, we got that beautiful, shimmery, gorgeous shade at the top. I think that this was an absolute hit as far as that column goes. Even though there's a bunch of different formulas in this palette, they all seem to be very consistent with each other. They all seem to work very well with each other, even though some of them might be kind of clashing in formulas themselves. Everything just worked really nicely together and seemed to just mesh with each other really well. So I'm really excited to try the other colors in this palette. Typically, I wouldn't really gravitate towards a palette that's so neutral, but something about this just drew me in. It was definitely the glitters, I'm not gonna lie to myself, but I knew that I needed this palette when I saw it, and so far, as of right now, I am not disappointed, but I'm gonna have to try it more and get back to you guys. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here. So I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and that you enjoyed seeing these shadows in action and up close and personal, and you'll have to let me know in the comments if you've picked this up, how you're feeling about it. I have not watched a single review on this palette. I've watched Tati's initial launch video and literally that's it. So I'm gonna go watch people's reviews now to see how everyone else feels. But if you are not already subscribed and you enjoy content like this, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below to stay in the loop with when I post and join the friend circle here. But with that being said, I hope that you are having an absolutely amazing and beautiful day wherever you are. And thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope to see you next time. Bye!